This is an All Ears English podcast, episode 1827, How to Deliver Better Feedback in English as a Manager. Welcome to the All Ears English podcast, downloaded more than 200 million times. Are you feeling stuck with your English? We'll show you how to become fearless and fluent by focusing on connection, not perfection. With your American hosts, Lindsay McMahon, the English adventurer, and Michelle Kaplan, the New York radio girl, coming to you from Colorado and New York City, USA. To get real-time transcripts right on your phone and create your personalized vocabulary list, try the All Ears English app for iOS and Android. Start your 7-day free trial at allearsenglish.com/app.
Are you in a management position where you have to discipline or deliver negative feedback to your international colleagues? This can bring up cultural challenges as well as language confusion. Today, find out how to do this well and build a positive office environment.
Cox Panoramic Wi-Fi includes advanced security to help protect all your connected devices. You'll get real-time alerts. Oh, like this one, so you don't have to worry about malware. Or when your kid downloads a song from a shady link. And now all your computer can play is red color, where are you? All blocked, thanks to advanced security, included with Cox Panoramic Wi-Fi. Advanced security must be enabled in the Panoramic Wi-Fi app. Restrictions apply.
Hey, Michelle, how's it going today?
Hey, Lindsay, good. I'm excited for today's episode. This is going to be a fun one. How are you?
Oh, I'm so excited. I love it when we bring in listener questions. You guys have great questions. Send your questions to Lindsay at allearsenglish.com. We want to know what you want to learn. But today, Michelle, we're featuring a question about, work, right? Our careers, business English, and also, feedback, being a manager and offering feedback, right?
Yeah. So, Lindsay, have you ever, as you're a manager, have you ever had to talk to someone about some pretty serious feedback, uncomfortable feedback?
I guess I've been lucky in my role as a manager. It just feels weird to say that, but I guess I've been lucky. No, not so much, not serious stuff. Someday I'm sure maybe it'll come, but not now. So I've been lucky so far.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood, right? No. What about you, Michelle? Have you ever been in a managerial role? That's a good adjective for today. A managerial role where you've had to, offer serious feedback.
I not specifically in a company, but I would say that as a teacher, I have had to offer some pretty serious feedback to students, and it can be uncomfortable as a teacher too. One uncomfortable thing can be if students are frequently late, and that's never fun because, sometimes, it's hard to sometimes know how to handle the situation. And it's also hard not to let things bother you. Like if, someone is so frequently late for your class, and it can be, guys, it can be like a sign of disrespect. So know that if, this is a highly cultural thing. But tardiness is seen as, can be disrespectful.
Especially if it happens multiple times over and over. I remember teaching in New York at the schools that I taught at, and I would have students walk in late habitually, right? Yeah. Another good word today. Habitually late every day or every other day. They'd be 15, 20, half an hour late. And you have to bring that up at some point. You have to broach the topic and deal with that to confront it because it is disrespectful at that point. Just get up earlier, you know?
Yeah, guys. So if you've been going late to class and you notice your teacher has a look on his or her face there's
a look. There's a certain look.
Yeah, you get to a point. So anyway, but we have a listener question dealing with feedback as really a manager. And it also deals with lateness. So we're going to read that question for you and talk about it. It's a great question. Lindsay, would you like to read it?
I would love to. I love this question from this student, and she has a similar background to a place I used to work. So let's go into it. So this is from Atik, from Japan. So I'm an English teacher from Japan. I used to work for Eon, just like you. So I worked for Eon Corporation in Japan in 2005 and 6. I'm a huge fan of All Ears English. Listening to your voices makes me happy every day. I have a question. I'll start working at an international school in 2 months. I'm going to take a managerial position, good word, and one of my tasks will be to support the teachers who are from many different countries. In the job interview with the principal, I've heard that some teachers are tardy and late to class once in a while. When that happens, I, as a manager, will have to talk to them and correct their behavior. Up until today, I've only been teaching English, and I've never had to deal with this kind of situation, so I don't know how to address this problem with my colleagues. How can I talk to them about problems like this and still be on good terms with them? Will you please help me? I'd really appreciate it. Thanks in advance. Love from Japan, Atek. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes. Well, one of the things that I love is that Atik is anticipating future situations, but at the same time is also focused on being on good terms, as the listener puts it, with the teacher. Yes. So, wanting to build that environment where people are on good terms. So I can see that this listener cares, right? Wants to be kind, wants to have a good, rapport, but also understands that situations will come up and is anticipating that. So I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's your job as a manager, right? I mean, if you're an employee in a company and you have your colleagues, you don't have to step into that role of disciplining. But once you step into that managerial role, that's part of your job. And I just want to flag here, culture is huge in this episode, right? Yes. Culture is everywhere in this episode because certain cultures I know can be a little more direct than others. And in my experience, I had Japanese managers. I was that international teacher in a school in Japan. My managers were Japanese, and there was definitely a struggle giving, I think, I can't speak for how they were feeling on the inside, but I think it was rare where I would get feedback until it was a point where maybe a student decided to leave my class because he didn't like my class. And I didn't get the feedback, so I could have fixed it leading up to it, right? So culture is all over this, right? Maybe you come from a culture where it's a little harder to give feedback. Maybe it's done in a different way. Even in American culture, I think people struggle with giving direct feedback. I don't think I'm the most direct person. What about you, Michelle?
No, it's not fun to have to talk to somebody about something that's not really going right. It's not fun. Yeah, we want to maintain our relationships, and when we don't want those to be in jeopardy. But today we're going to show you, Tech, and all of our listeners a way, different ways to get the feedback out there, but maintain the relationship. Right, Michelle? That's huge. Absolutely. Yeah. So, all right, let's talk about it. So let's remember something. About maintaining that relationship. That starts, from the bottom up. You got to show constant interest. And not just when something is wrong, right? So you have to be a manager for when things are good and when things aren't so good. So that's my opinion, is get to know the teachers, build those relationships, ask about their hobbies or their families. Just this starts with a good core relationship. And when you have that good foundation, you will feel, I want to say that you'll feel more comfortable giving feedback, but it's not that you'll feel more comfortable necessarily, because in some ways you might feel less comfortable because you are have a good relationship. But I think that then at that point you have to remember, no, things are good with this employee and I've worked hard on building these good relationships and I can give that feedback, That's really interesting, Michelle. I like this, right? This is building the foundation. So yeah, it might be harder, but it'll be more authentic, right? It's know the person as a whole person. And I think you put the employee at ease when they know that you know them as a whole person, right? Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they know that you care about them. They, you've started from a good place. So I don't know. Yeah. I personally think that that's important to build that foundation. Another thing is remain calm. You know, I don't necessarily think this listener is going to yell, but, you know, when giving feedback as a manager, you know, I think a good manager remains calm and isn't going to like just start screaming, because that's definitely going to cause a problem.
Yeah, I mean, try to find a way to. So it's interesting because the first tip was about understand the person as a whole. And in the second way, it's like a couple things. Understand a way to ground your body, right? Breathing, meditations, different things you can do before you go in and have the chat. But at the same time, at that moment when you're giving feedback, remember it's business, right? It's not personal. Like it is personal, but it's not. If we can find that beautiful balance, right, that would work really well, right? Remember, it's just business, right? It's not, you know, and you know what I'm trying to say? I'm not sure if I'm being clear.
You are. It's just recognize, like, put it in perspective, right? Like, it's something of just think, you know, this is something that's a little bit of a conflict that we'll work through and it'll happen. But don't don't take it personally that the person, it's hard. And as a teacher, I have been guilty of kind of, you know, like, kind of starting to take it a little bit personally because you feel like it's your class. And so, so just breathe and realize it's probably not like a personal thing against you.
Yeah, exactly. And understand as you're giving that feedback as the giver, right? You're not attacking the whole person as a person. Right. It's you're just addressing a gap in their business performance that can be corrected. Right. So the first two tips are kind of opposites, but they do work together. That's what I like about them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then the next thing is to show you empathize, right? You know, saying things like, oh, I've been there before, or I remember, blah, blah, blah. Just showing that you understand, or if it's in terms of being late, like, oh, I know the trains are crazy here, you know, things like that.
I know. I may have shared this on the show before, but when I worked for a school in Penn Station area in Midtown, I used to have to take the R train in from Brooklyn. And my school had a rule that if you were late once as a teacher, you lost your job.
Oh,
isn't that crazy? I was terrified that because the R train's really slow. Even on weekday mornings, things can happen. We know New York, it's gotten worse since those days. But sometimes it's just not in your control, and you can't exactly grab a taxi from Brooklyn and just be there in a flash. You know, so I would leave super early and always have a lot of extra time. So, you know, we want to avoid having to come down with those kinds of rules. But the way to make sure we don't have to put into place those kinds of rules is by knowing how to open these conversations, right? Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And I also think seeking out solutions together is a good idea, you know, like making goals, you know, just being like, oh, like this has worked for me or something like that. You don't want to patronize the person and be like, well, let's make a chart, right? You don't want to baby them, but
yeah.
But, you know, it might be just sharing some advice or saying like, oh, is there a better train you could take? Do you know if they're like, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. And you can feel it out, right? This is all about the social skills of just feeling how are they responding to your feedback? Do they want your help? Mapping out the subway and figuring out, is there an easier, faster way to come? Or is it really just an attitude issue? If it's an attitude issue or a lack of discipline on their part, then you're going to have to take this to the next level and start talking about finding new staff members, right? Because that's inexcusable. So hopefully they are willing to somehow work with you, but you can feel it out to see whether or not they're, you know, open to having your help solving the problem. Mm-hmm.
Right. You don't want to just like give advice to make them make them feel like, okay, I'm an adult, you know, but a little bit can be helpful.
Our podcast today is sponsored by Grammarly. We recommend Grammarly because this tool can immediately fix your English writing to make it professional, clear, and concise. It's great for contracts, important emails, and presentations, and more. I love how when I'm writing an email, Grammarly is always there in my browser, making suggestions and corrections. All I have to do is just click their suggestions and make the changes. And this makes my emails 80% better. I love it. You guys are going to love it too. Grammarly helps you avoid that feeling when you are about to send an email, but you're not sure if it's 100% correct. Grammarly solves that problem. The tool is free to download and get started, and later, if you upgrade to premium, it will even do clarity-focused sentence rewrites for you. So good. So go to grammarly.com/AEE to sign up for a free account. And when you're ready to upgrade, you'll get 20% off on premium for being a listener of All Ears English. That's 20% off at grammarly.com/AEE.
So let's go over some things that you can say in these situations.
Okay, here we go. The first phrase is, hi, I wanted to chat with you about something. This is going to open it up. Right, Michelle?
And then you could say something like, I've noticed you've been late a few times, right? So bringing up the topic.
Yeah. And then I wanted to check in and see if everything is okay. So that's really good because what you're doing first is you're seeing if anything is wrong in their lives. You're like assuming maybe it's something else. Other than just they're not, don't just assume they're being lazy and they need to be disciplined, right? Assume that maybe it's something else. So I like that we're going to that first.
Right. Assuming the best in people, I think, is always going to get you further than having this just if your baseline is you're always figuring that people are doing things like maliciously, another good word.
Yeah.
Then I think it's going to be harder and you're going to end up feeling that anger as a manager.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And then what else, Michelle? What would be another one you could do?
Well, if you wanted to seek out solutions, again, if the person seems open to that and you don't feel like you're patronizing or babying them, I was wondering if you needed any help navigating your way to work or if I can help with timing in any way. So seeking out solutions. So this could be good for somebody who's just moved there. And you're the expert, and, offering some advice, but you may not always want to do that,
For sure. Well, I'm imagining with Ateka, the situation here is he or she is dealing with international teachers who are living in Japan. I'm assuming this is what we're talking about. And I mean, I remember my first week going to my school, walking from my apartment in Tokyo to the school. I was terrified I was going to get lost. And a few times I did get lost because those neighborhoods are densely packed. They're confusing. You're not sure about the train. And everyone's staring at you because you look different. It's stressful, right? It's stressful. And that teacher may just need that little bit of help. So that's why in this scenario, it's especially important to offer that help. Okay.
Absolutely. Should we go straight to the role play or should we do a couple more?
Yeah, let's go to the role play, Michelle. I think we've got some good vocab to work with, and then we can show our listeners because the role play is so important.
Yes,
I think
exactly.
Ateka and our listeners are going to write this down, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So, here we go. You are talking to me about being late, Lindsay. Sorry.
Okay. Oh, man, I have to be the manager. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Michelle, how's it going?
Good, thanks.
I wanted to chat with you about something.
Okay.
I've noticed you've been late a few times. I want to check in and see if everything's okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. I really apologize, Lindsay.
I appreciate that. I was wondering if you needed any help navigating your way to work or if I can help with timing in any way. I know the subway system can be a pain.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there are tons of delays. I think I should switch my train because it's always late. Maybe I'll look at taking another route.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I will fix the problem. Thanks for being so patient.
Well, let me know if I can help.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Okay, so what did we do here? This is really good because it didn't have to immediately get to, oh, you're late, you're being lazy or we need to fix this, right? You assumed something else was I assumed something else was wrong. It's the train. And then what did you do, Michelle?
And I said that's what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
I confirmed it. So, yeah, you first started off, you said, how's it going? I wanted to chat with you about something to open up. right?
Yep, exactly. And I said, I've noticed you've been late a few times. I wanted to check in, right? I wanted to check in, and we can do other episodes, other days, guys, about why I'm saying I wanted to check in instead of I want to check in.
Yes.
I think we'll get to that another day. Right, Michelle? Yeah.
Yes. And then I apologized. And then you said, I was wondering if you needed any help or if I can help with your timing. And then you said, I know the subway system can be a pain, right? So you're empathizing. You've been there before.
Yeah, exactly. And you said, yeah, there are tons of delays. And then you came up with the solution. This is important too, right? Because ultimately, I'm giving you a lot of grace here. But ultimately, at the end, what I like here, Michelle, is that you are taking responsibility and you're identifying the problem yourself. And then I like how you said, I will fix it. That's very direct. It's very much like a promise to me. And now I feel much more at ease as a manager that you're going to take care of it. You're taking responsibility. That's really good. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. I will fix it. I will. And then let's see. Wait, did I lose my spot? You said I will fix the problem. Thanks for being so patient. And you said, let me know if I can help, which is just, you know, a good way to kind of close things off. So I think in general, we really ended things on a positive note. It wasn't too serious. You were able to talk to me about something. You were able to empathize. And it sounded like, you know, you had built a good rapport earlier on so that it wasn't so like, oh, like the manager never talks to me. Like, I don't even know her. And now she's calling me in, you know?
Yeah, totally. And this is a great way to open it up if this is the first time this is happening, right? It's the first conversation. Now, we can talk another day if they're, as you say, Michelle, a repeat offender, right? The person keeps, like, let's say, you know, it's 3 weeks later, you're still coming in late and you're not acknowledging anything, any changes you've made. That's another episode for another day. But the one thing I want to emphasize here is when you do this, guys, if you're in this management position and you offer this feedback, have the conversation slowly, slow down, right? Because what I noticed when I had some of these conversations with my managers in my workplace in Japan, we would speak really, really fast because I think they were uncomfortable. And so I missed half of what they said between English and speaking fast. So slow down. That'll calm your nerves. That'll make you feel more grounded. And just speak to the person. Like, look them in the eye. You're talking to a human being. Slow down, right? That's the key. Yeah. So we can talk more about this another day. But I think, also starting with that good foundation will help you feel more comfortable, like you know these people, because you'll know also how they react. You'll know more about them, and you'll know how to converse with them uniquely to each individual person. Oh, like this person might like some help. This person doesn't like help. But, you know, also keep your cool and don't lose your temper. This was such a great question. We had so much to say, Lindsay. We had a lot to say. I mean, ultimately, it is the manager's responsibility to create an environment where these kind of conversations can be really easy, can be really straightforward. They don't need to be a big deal, right? So as a manager, work to create that environment in case this happens again with another person, right? That's what we want to go for as professionals. Global professionals.
Global professionals. I love it, Lindsay. Well, this was a great question that we can definitely do more on. So maybe we'll do a follow-up. But thank you so much to our listener. And good luck. Hope this was helpful.
All right. Good stuff, Michelle. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Right, bye.
Thanks for listening to All Ears English. Would you like to know your English level? Take our 2-minute quiz. Go to allearsenglish.com/fluency score. And if you believe in connection, not perfection, then hit subscribe now to make sure you don't miss anything. See you next time.